Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Lehman from Math with Mrs. Lehman. I'm here today with my third period math class. Say hello everybody.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about equivalent ratios some more, and we are going to be solving problems with equivalent ratios. So we're starting out with a bell ringer first. We're going to write two ratios that are equivalent to 1 to 2. So do I have any examples or do you guys have any examples of ratios that have the same value as 1 to 2? Mackenzie?
2 to 4.
2 to 4, very good. She scaled that up to 2 to 4. Trinity? 3 to 6, nice job. Another example, I'll go with Willow.
4 to 8.
4 to 8. How many examples could we give?
Hundreds.
A lot, more than hundreds. We could give an infinite number of examples because we keep scaling that up. All right, so we're going to stop there. It says if there's one teacher for every. Why did I hit that button, guys?
Because
For every. Very good. That's our ratio. So if there is one teacher for every 20 students, how many teachers would you expect there to be in a school with 400 students? All right, let's talk about the ratio that we've been given first. Go ahead.
The ratio is 1 to 20.
Very good. And the 1 is representative of the teachers. Very good. And the 20 represents the students. Very nice. Okay. So now what do I do? Liz.
you do 40 divided by 2.
Okay. Hold on. We have some things we've got to put in there. We have this info too. We have 400 students. Would I put that in this proportion up here or down here in the denominator? Elijah.
The denominator?
Why?
I don't quite know.
We've got to be really organized about this. William, why would we have to do that?
Because that's where the students' college is.
Very good. This bottom row right here represents the students, okay? So now we're looking for the teachers. So to get from 20 to 400, we have to figure out what we have to do to get there. So what do we have to do to get from 20 to 400, Liz?
You have to multiply it
By
200.
So if we take 20 times 200, you're going to get 420 times 200. Our number is going to be too big because we're going to have 3 zeros there. We're going to end up with 4,000. So instead of multiplying it by 200, what do you think we need to multiply it by?
100.
Not 100. We still want that 4 in front. So we've got to multiply it by something with the 2. Justin. 20, yeah. All right. Does that make sense, Liz? So we're going to chop off one of those zeros, multiply it by 20. So 20 times 20 is 400, and 1 times 20 would give us what? 20. Yep. So our answer is what? Let's write it out. What would our answer be, Trinity?
There would be 20 teachers.
Very good. There would be 20 teachers. Any questions on this? All right, we are now going to move on to our next thing. Here's a little joke for you guys. 3 out of 2 people have trouble with fractions. What makes that funny? 3 out of 2 people have trouble with fractions. Some of you are saying that isn't funny, but why do you think that's funny, Jada?
Because you can take 3 out of 2.
We can't have 3 people when you only have 2 people, yeah. Haha. All right, moving on to the module now. We had some homework from yesterday. It was on page 6, so let's quickly go through that. Number 12 says write 2 ratios that are equivalent to 1 to 1. So on page 6, number 12 is your problem set. Let's hear from somebody I haven't heard from yet. 1 to 1. Same people are not raising their hands, which I appreciate, but if we could get some more participation from some other people, that would be good too. Thank you, Jasmine. Very good. So if we have 1 to 1, that's the same as saying 69 to 69. Who can give me another example? Thank you. The other Jasmine. 3 to 3. Nice. Oh, the possibilities. Carly.
4 to 4.
4 to 4. Very good. And the last one, please, Deja.
22 to 22.
Very nice. I can give an example, right? If you have 10 fingers, hopefully you have 10 fingernails, right? So the ratio of fingers to nails is 10 to 10, right? If you have a pair of glasses, hopefully you have 2 lenses for every 2 openings, right? So the ratio is 1 to 1. Maybe in a school, the goal is to have 1 computer for every student. That would be a 1 to 1 ratio. All right, let's move on to the next one. Write 2 ratios that are equivalent to 3 to 11. Again, I recommend writing this in fraction form. So let's see, Tim, what do you have? 12 to 44. What did he multiply both the top and bottom by to get that scaled up ratio, Will?
2.
Times 4, very good. 3 times 4 is 12, 11 times 4 is 44. Who can give me another example? Jada.
6 to 22.
Very good, 6 to 22. Are there any other examples that you would like me to check? Ethan.
9 to 33.
9 to 33, does that work? Yep, very good. Justin, you want me to check one of yours?
15 to 55.
Very good, so he multiplied both the top and bottom by what?
5.
By 5, yep. Nice job. All right, the ratio of the width of the rectangle to the height of the rectangle is blank to blank. So this is the width, and this is the height. So it's looking for which one of those first? Tim. Which is?
9.
Very good, and the height is?
4.
Nice job. Now, the next part, it says if each square in the grid has a side length of 8 millimeters, what is the width and the height of the rectangle? So what do we have to do with that 8 to figure out what the width and height are? Mackenzie. Very good. So we know that it's 4 units tall times 8 millimeters each. That's going to give you how many millimeters for the height? Yep.
I got 32.
Very good. So 32 millimeters. Let's go on to the width. What are we multiplying there? Liz?
4 times 8.
We just did the height, which was 4, so the width was the other number.
9 times 8.
Very good. 9 times 8, which is?
72.
Very good. 72 millimeters. Make sure you've labeled your answers with the unit. All right, so we have a height of 32 and a width of 72. Any questions there? Elijah?
Isn't really we put it in fraction form?
In fraction form, what do you mean?
Like you have 72.
You wrote it as a ratio. They didn't ask you to write it as a ratio, so I would not write that as a ratio of the height to width like that, okay? I would just make sure you label that the height is 32 and the width is 70 millimeters. Okay. Yes.
I made an answer sentence saying the width of the rectangle is 72 millimeters and the height is 32 millimeters.
Nicely done. That's exactly what you need to do. Good job. All right, moving on. All right, guys, now we're on page 10, I believe. Nope, page 8. We are going to be looking at lesson 5, which is solving problems by finding equivalent ratios. We're going to use a tape diagram here in a minute. Does anyone remember using tape diagrams in elementary school? All right, so a good number of you. If not, this isn't terribly complicated. So Let's read our question. It says, a county superintendent of highways is interested in the numbers of different types of vehicles that regularly travel within his county. In the month of August, a total of 192 registrations were purchased for passenger cars and pickup trucks at the local Department of Motor Vehicles, the DMV. The DMV reported that in the month of August, for every five passenger cars registered, there were 7 pickup trucks registered. How many of each type of vehicle were registered in the county in the month of August? Let's go back into that a second time, read it for the info that we're given, and figure out exactly what we're being asked to do. So, when I read this, please raise your hand if there's something that you see that's important to underline, okay? A county superintendent of highways is interested in the numbers of different types of vehicles that regularly travel within his county. In the month of August, a total of 192 registrations were purchased. Lots of hands went up. So, Ann, what do I need to underline? Very good. So everybody make sure you underline this. 192. That was the total number of vehicles, right? And that total represents passenger cars, let's underline that, and pickup trucks. Alright, I'm going to keep reading. The DMV reported that in the month of August, for every 5 passenger cars registered, right, I saw lots of hands go up for that, for every 5 passenger cars, so let's underline that. That's the first part of our ratio, and we're talking about cars to pickups. How many pickup trucks, Elijah?
7.
7, very good. So who can tell me, are there more cars or pickup trucks on the road in this example? Mackenzie? Trucks, very good. How many of each type of vehicle were registered in the county in the month of August? And again, lots of people are raising their hands because we need to figure out how many of each type of vehicle were registered. So we know there was a total of 192. We know that that ratio has a value of 5 to 7 when it comes to cars and pickups. We have to use that information to try to figure out how many cars there were out of 192 and how many trucks there were out of 192. So let's look at this first part A. Using the information in the problem, write 4 different ratios and describe the meaning of each. Now, we're not going to touch the 192 yet because we don't know how many cars, we don't know how many trucks out of 192 yet, okay? But we do know that they gave us a ratio of cars to pickups. We're going to use C for cars, P for pickup trucks, and then we're going to use T for total, okay? So, who can give me one ratio? Maybe cars to pickups. Cars to pickups. What was our ratio? William? 5 to 7. So let's write cars to pickups equals 5 to 7. Very good. All right. Who can tell me how many cars, if we're using the ratio 5 cars, 7 pickup trucks, what's the cars to total then? Again, save the 192. We're not using that right now. How many cars were there? 5 out of a total of how many? Now, wouldn't it make sense to say 5 out of 192, right? But if we just took a small little portion of the vehicles traveling, it'd be 5 out of a total of how many? 12, very good. If you take the 5 and the 7, add those together, you're going to figure out that there are 12, out of 12 vehicles, 5 are cars. Let's do pickups to cars, right? How many pickups were there? Jada?
7.
Very good. How many cars?
5.
All right, let's do pickups now to total. Pickups to total, who can give me that example, please? Yes.
7 to 12.
Very good, 7 to 12. So we have 4 different ratios there. Now we're going to make a tape diagram very quickly because Mr. Mattingly's here to describe some dog. We're recording right now, Mr. Mattingly. We are going to make a tape diagram. So let's draw a bar for the cars and a bar for pickups. So cars has to represent how many? 5. So let's draw a 5-unit bar here. Draw 4 lines. It doesn't need to be perfect, all right? But roughly each unit should equal, or should be the same size as the other unit. All right, let's go ahead when you're done with that. The pickups, how many units are the pickup trucks? Liz?
7.
7, very good. So you're going to go 2 past the 5, essentially. So go ahead and draw 7 units. All right, part C says, how many equal-sized parts does the tape diagram consist of? So altogether, how many units do we have here, Julius?
Oh, I was seeing how many lines there.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
I
you.
was seeing how many lines there. And there.
Oh, how many lines? So if you're drawing a 7-unit section or a 7-unit bar, you draw 6 lines, okay? So if we have 5 here and 7 here, that's a total of how many? 12. 12, yep. So for C, we're right 12 units. All right. Now this all represents how many vehicles? We know there's 12 units, but when we expand that further out for the entire month of August, how many vehicles, Tim, does that represent?
192.
Very good. 192 there. So we're going to write that under part D. 192 vehicles. All right. And let's see. We are going to have to save, I guess, that for tomorrow. All right, I'm going to pause this and we'll pick up and maybe I'll 4th period record that if I have time. All right? All right, so we know that there are 192 vehicles. Now with 4th period, say hi everybody.
Hi.
We are going to move on to page 9 to finish this. What value does each individual part of the tape diagram represent? So we know that there are 12 units and we know that that's a total of 192 vehicles. Does anyone have any idea what we would do to figure out what each section is worth? Trisha.
Divide?
Divide, very good. What would I divide by what?
192.
Divided by?
12.
Very good, wow. Good job. So we're going to take 192 and we are going to divide that by 12. So how many times does 12 go into 19? Once, very good. That's going to be 12. Subtract 19 minus 12 is 7, good. And bring down your 2. How many times does 12 go into 72? LJ? 6. Very good. 12 times 6 is 72. So what does each unit represent? Maria?
16.
16 vehicles, very good. So we're going to go back to the last page, and we know now that each of these units is worth 16 vehicles. So our last step is now to answer that original question, to figure out how many of each type of vehicle there are. You can figure out how many cars and how many pickups there are. Okay, we are going to flip back. Is everybody good so far? All right, we're back on page 9. It says how many of each type of vehicle were registered in August. How would I go about finding that answer? We know the ratio, if you go back to this page, was 5 to 7 cars to pickups, right? If I want to figure out how many cars there are, what would I do? Caleb?
Multiply.
Multiply what?
5 times 16.
Beautiful, nice job. All right, so we're gonna take 5 times 16. Everybody, 5 times 6. 30, they whisper. All right, 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8. Very good. So 80 what? 80 cars. Very good. Let's figure out how many pickup trucks. So what will I do to find the number of pickup trucks? Katie? 16 times 7. Very good. All right, so 7 times 6 is 42. Very good. 7 times 1 is plus 4 is 11. So we have 112. And what does that represent? Trucks. Pickup trucks. Very good. So 112 trucks. Nice job. All right, we are going to continue with example 2 tomorrow. So, guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe to Math with Mrs. Lehman. Everybody else say bye.
Bye.
Wait.